Hello YouTube. The other day I was saying I was going to make a video basically going over my component collection in a little bit of detail. I want to go over the logic behind why I have the collection I have and the way it's laid out. There are some problems with the way it's laid out, but for the most part the way it's laid out and why it is. I'm going to start off over here. This isn't really the component collection. This is just, when I'm working on something, components that I'm using a lot in the design process, I'll sort of just leave in a few boxes on my workbench next to what I'm working on. That way I can just, swap out resistors and capacitors and just basic stuff without having to go over and rummage through the component collection. Also, I'll keep, some breadboards, jumper wire, link wire, solid core, jumper cables, little bits of insulation and links, more resistors, little clip leads, random different offcuts of wire, random different pots, just to, when you're trying to dial in a resistance value, you don't want to do the math. Sometimes you can get away, if you know the ballpark value, put a pot in there, set it to the ballpark value, and then fine tune it to get the circuit to behave how you want it to. Then pull the pot out, measure the pot, and your fixed value resistors to put in. Just random BNC adapters. There's random stuff in here that I've made myself. Like compensation networks. It's a variable R and a variable C snubber with a BNC fitted to it. 50 ohm feed throughs, 50 ohm pass throughs, 50 ohm terminators, random different adapters. As you can see, some things I've made, some things I've bought. There's DC blocks that I've made myself. Just more random adapters that allow you to break out to different things. I even got some like 75 ohm to 50 ohm like that. 75 ohm to 50 ohm converter. Just random stuff. Short cables. Anyway, that's just covering that. Couple of higher power 50 ohm pass throughs, 2 watts. Shielded boxes, alligator clips to clip onto BNC leads so that you can do stuff like this. Of course, alligator clips, and then like a ton of leads to do different things. That's sort of how I keep the workbench area, so I'm not getting up and walking around. And then I do have random parts lying around, as you've seen in previous videos. This is all transformers and switching power supplies. Here's where it gets interesting. So, this is going to be awkward to do with one hand. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm going to get a camera mount and a lot of things that I have coming on the way that's going to help with production. But basically just all different insulators, mica, silicon, spacers, screws, nuts, washers, all that sort of standoffs, insulators, just random bits and pieces for mounting components. In these drawers, we've got different styles of, like rotary switches with different positions and gang numbers. Some of them are like multi-wafer, some of them are single. And again with switches, like just a load of different styles of switches. Same thing again, just random different styles of buttons. More switches. DC barrel jacks. More of those rotary switches. IC sockets. What do we got here? Micro switches and some more random buttons. Dip switches. Random connectors. A couple valve sockets. Some bigger switches. Again, some bigger switches. Again, some bigger switches. Random connectors and terminations. Really just miscellaneous stuff. There's everything in there from a servo built drive to some SMA connectors, air pressure sensor, just random stuff. In here, a whole load of BNC nuts and brass screws and stuff like that. In here, cable restraints and grommets. In here, different sorts of dials to put on potentiometers. In here, BNC connectors, a few different types and styles. In here, different RJ series jacks and plugs. In here, some what do you call them? PCB mount screw down, to attach wires to a PCB via a screw. In here, some feed through banana jacks. What do we got here? Okay, some phenolic sort of, they look like the termination, little bits of termination strip like on the back of speakers, and some RCA jacks and some speaker outputs, a couple of alligator clips and pogo probes, whatever they're called, a couple of, I forget what they are, 3.5, 6.5 millimeter audio jacks, more of them. Whole load of different sizes of toggle switches, some more panel mount connectors, some more RCA jacks, some more audio plugs, some more RCA jacks, some IEC connectors. I forget what connectors these are, but they're for high current and they clip together. And some more banana jack connectors. Sorry about the quality. Then over here, the component drawers. I'm not going to go over this in great detail because it would just go on forever. So I'll just give you guys a quick look so you can get a rough idea. But I try and keep a pretty big collection of jelly bean parts, stuff that's in a lot of equipment that needs to be fixed, and new stuff. So it's, it's a random selection. It's a really random selection. But the reason for this is if you want to build stuff all the time like I do, and fix stuff all the time like I do, if you don't do this, you'll be constantly ordering stuff and waiting for stuff to arrive. And, it takes time, it's a lot easier when I'm over here working on something to just come over here, go through my components inventory and just grab what I need. So that's my reasoning behind that. Something I want to point out with transistors, you might find you'll see multiple different trays that have the same transistors in them. Like there's a tray down here that's got some BC550s, and there's another tray up here that's got some BC546s, and there's some other BC series transistors that you'll see around. You'll also find them repeated in other boxes. That's because if I come across fakes or stuff that's come from a dodgy place like eBay, or I haven't actually tested them yet for breakdown voltage, gain, all that sort of stuff, you know, junction capacitance, to make sure they actually are the right transistors. Or if they're from a batch, I'll keep them in a separate drawer. That way when I'm designing something like an amplifier and I need to match transistors, I can just go and grab, you know, from a specific batch and then closely gain match and VB match those transistors. It makes it a lot easier, and again consumes a lot less time than just sticking them all in the one box. Same thing with really old transistors, you know, vintage BCX, that's just 546s, 547s, stuff like that. But again, those are from like the 70s and 80s. So obviously they're going to have different characteristics to store-bought ones from, say, Jaycar and other places like DigiKey. Anyway, continuing on with the component collection. You have to excuse my writing. Sorry about the squeaky floor, guys. The floor in this workshop's actually got to come out. It's actually the reason why I chose this room to set up the workshop in. It's the only room in the house that's got a screwed floor and screwed walls and needs completely renovating. So I've put this in here temporarily. I'm going to renovate the room and then refit everything properly in here. Getting a bit closer. Some things might be a bit hard to see. This is just 1 kilovolt capacitors and a couple of tuning dials. Nothing special. Different heat sinks. I've got a lot of different heat sinks. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot. I'm sure some people have got more. I also got a couple over here that have got some decent transistors mounted to them already that I am going to use to build some amplifiers. Where was I? Oh yes, more drawers. This is why it's so hard to, how would I say, list everything in. Like, tell you guys, I figured it's better to just slowly scroll over everything so you can see it yourself, because I'd be talking for an hour trying to list all of this. Yeah, very random collection. Um, more resistors. More resistors. Some bigger inductors. I know I've shown this in another video, so I won't keep going. I've got some 1 watt resistors in here. Got some 1 watt resistors in here and in here. And then in these larger boxes, these are 1 watt resistors, and then in these 2 drawers, there are 1 watt and over resistors. These ones are just all board pulled resistors, but yeah. Okay. Then there's the E12 series, I think it is. You know, the metal film 1%. Always keep those just like that, it's very handy to get to. Then there's all the stuff that's on top of the drawers. Dremel accessories and just random stuff. And different types of wire like Constantan, nichrome of different thicknesses. Low melting temp solder, deoxit kit, random power transformer, some copper link wire, solder paste, random 5 ohm 50 watt wire wound pot, various sizes of caps and tape, solder wick, tier 3P mounts, mounting kits, tip tinner, more solder, some buzz bars, some connecting strips, a whole load of different styles of terminal blocks, random fans, heat shrink, just all different bits of PCB board, because I make my own boards, so I just got a stock of board, the stuff to etch the boards. That's for doing photo resist boards, not the ones where you etch them yourself by drawing on them with a marker and then etching it. What else? Just random stuff, like a couple of different reels of capacitors, box of capacitors, different various types of wire, whole bag of appliance parts, some really thicker copper wire, again a random roll of wire. Up the top I've got a whole load of different thicknesses of copper wire, like enamelled copper wire, and then again just all different random bits of power cables and thicker pieces of wire for high current stuff, and just random cables. Then I got this shelf here that's just got some more random stuff on it, like different heating elements and parts for all my soldering, desoldering equipment. Different products that I use. The tools that are in my electronics workshop. A little vise down here and a Dremel as well. Oh yeah, also down here is a whole lot more cable. There's silicon wire in here that's harvested from battery connectors, like high temperature silicon coated wire, random different types of cables that are shielded, like coax, and different core counts of cables that are shielded, for signal transmission stuff. Again, a whole load of random bits of wire that are harvested from appliances, mainly with different connectors. And then in the box below that is just random offcuts of bigger pieces of wire. Sort of like the small box that's up here, but with bigger pieces. Yeah, I can't really think about what else there really is in here. I've got a huge pile of transformers that just goes on and on and on and on and on. Transformers, chokes, all sorts of different stuff. Toroidal transformers, just boxes of little AI core transformers, more toroidal transformers, some higher power transformers, a load of switch mode power supplies. Yeah, yeah, that's basically the component side of things. So, oh, actually, one thing I've missed over here is a few sub-ohm and mega-ohm to giga-ohm resistor values in this box. Not a lot. There's some pots in here and some more pots in here. I've actually got some more pots arriving because I'm starting to run low on a lot of values already. It's not the biggest collection of pots. Some more heat sinks for something else I've got coming up. In here is just random different values of power resistors. So it's hard to see through the plastic, so I'll just open the lids up quickly. But yeah, random values of power resistors. Again, some board pulls, some brand new. My entire component collection's like that. There's a lot of stuff that's board pulls. There's a lot of stuff that's brand new. Oh, still I'm missing something. SMD. I've got my unorganized SMD. So, some power devices, diodes, transistors and FETs. What's that? Light diode, different regulators, op amps, more power pack devices, random ICs and MOSFETs and stuff like that. A lot of flash memory chips in there too. Some bigger surface mount diodes, some Schottkys, some Zenas, different style surface mount power diodes, bridge rectifiers, small signal type surface mounts, voltage regulators, mainly 1117s, a few opto isolators. I don't really work with a lot of SMD, so that's why I don't have a crap ton of it. Random resistors, MILF resistors. I think they could be inductors in there. Yeah, they look like inductors. They'd be inductors too. Little focus resistor divider bridges. Inductors or shunt resistors, I can't remember. Tantalum capacitors. I've put these in a separate container, so obviously something I just can't remember what. Some 3-pin SOT23 looking device. Again, I can't remember what these are either. They could be op amps. They could be some. I don't think they're op amps, but not by the look of that heat spreader on the bottom of them. But anyway, some trimmer caps of different types, and some surface mount LEDs, just a couple. In this box, some microcontrollers, some different jacks like audio jacks, USB-C, HDMI, some small surface mount fuses, some capacitors, a couple of push button switches, a couple of different crystal oscillators. Sort of upside down, so it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, different oscillators, some different types of flash memory. Can't remember what these chips are in the back. I think they might be motor drivers or something. I can't remember. Anyway, that's my unorganized, kind of organized but unorganized SMD. And then over here I've got my organized SMD parts that are actually labeled. There's not a lot. Like I said, I don't work with a lot of SMD. But when I come across stuff that is useful, like these parts, I will obviously collect them. So yeah. And then another box ready to go for more SMD stuff. My component collection's always growing because what I do is I harvest boards out of stuff. Sorry, my flash is off at the moment. I'll grab a torch. Yeah, I harvest boards out of all different things: amplifiers, TVs, precision equipment, metrology equipment, anything I can get my hands on, basically. And yeah, harvest components. So I've got to go through all these boards, and I dare say that the last couple of boxes that have got space, like there's maybe 2 boxes over there that have got space. A few of these drawers aren't completely filled up. There's a couple of drawers in the bottom of here, and then 1, 2, 3, and that for SMD. I dare say that's going to all be full, and more added to this by the time I go through those boards. So yeah, that's the component collection. It's pretty vast, so that's why I thought I'd do a video on it instead of trying to cram it into another video, because it's just too much to look at. But yeah, that's that, guys. Thanks for watching.